Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Let the filibustering begin.
Welcome to Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to Filibuster here on the Nerd Party. On today's show we preview the 2021 edition of the BFI London Film Festival. I'm your co-host Alice King, and with me as always on the other side of the virtual pod booth, it's Lee Hutchison. How are you this week?
Yeah, I'm good. I felt like I needed to almost do a Dick Van Dyke chimney sweep style impression there for going to London, but I managed to restrain myself.
Oh, I'm sure it would have been better than Johnny Depp in From Hell, at least anyway. Next week sees the start of this year's London Film Festival with the opening gala film, the Netflix release The Harder They Fall, followed by 11 more days of film before culminating with the UK premiere of The Tragedy of Macbeth. Following the highs of our first joint coverage of the festival in 2019 to the tempered lows of last year's digital edition, 2021 is a true hybrid model. There'll be the chance to watch a limited number of films online digitally. Film fans around outside of London in cities such as Glasgow, Edinburgh, Manchester and Bristol, but pointedly not Aberdeen, can enjoy the gala presentations, while the rest of the film fans descend on London. But in a change from previous years, those attending will find themselves situated on the South Bank at the BFI and Royal Festival Hall, as Leicester Square is busy with Bond. James Bond. Not only has it no time to die, but Leicester Square has no time for the festival this year. So on this preview episode, we are each going to choose 3 films that we're looking forward to. But first, a quick discussion about how we're both going to be tackling the film festival. So Lee, you're going to be down in London for pretty much the entire festival. Are you looking forward to 12 intense days of screenings, junkets and red carpets?
Yeah, I've had to juggle mine around a little bit. I've started a new job recently, and they told me, hey, you've got 8 days of annual leave, you're all good to go. But my work now is sort of like January to December and in terms of holidays. So I discovered those 8 days are good, but 5 of them will involve a break over Christmas. So I had 3 annual leave days, but the joy of my new job is that I will be able to work in London a little bit. So I'm going down on the Thursday for a work event, then staying behind, and then I've already got a ticket in the evening to go see Sean Barker's new movie. And then on the Friday, I'm going to have a flexi day and spend the day at the film festival. Then I've got the weekend. I'm going to work in London Monday to Tuesday. But the joy is I will be located quite near the South Bank, so I might be able to pop over for a lunchtime screening and then enjoy some films in the evening. And then for the Wednesday to the Sunday, I'll be able to enjoy the film festival in about a piece.
Working during a film festival. Wow. I mean, keep it on the down low. I might have had the odd film on during a digital film festival while working, but I have not attempted to work while at a physical film festival. My hat off to you, and I can only imagine you'll probably need another 8 days of annual leave once you finally get back to Edinburgh.
Yeah, most definitely. There'll be no rest for the wicked, but I'm willing to give it a go. We'll see how it comes along. It's one of these things. There's such a good lineup, and it was hard to think, oh, maybe I just take 3 days here and stay and watch certain films, or 5 days here. But I thought, I can try and juggle it and make the most of it. And I've been lucky enough. I've got a ticket to go see the Tragedy of Macbeth, I think, or something like the Lady Macbeth play with Saoirse Ronan. Got a ticket for that, and the Wes Anderson pop-up is back again. They did it for the Isle of Dogs, where you get to see a lot of the exhibits and design work and so on. So I'm gonna get a ticket for that maybe on the evening of the screening. So I'm gonna have a nice week away and stuff like that. It won't all be film festival stuff, but I'm gonna do a few things to complement the experience.
Absolutely, and I am going to be watching whatever I can watch virtually, and then I'm gonna, with Aberdeen not having the festival screenings, it's too much to keep travelling up and down to Glasgow or Edinburgh for those ones. So I'm gonna roll the dice and gamble that something like the French Dispatch, or it might be at there's 2 Scottish press days been announced, 11th and 12th of October. So I'm hoping that that'll be a good lineup, and I'll just have to hopefully make the most of the likes of June, Halloween Kills, Last Night Soho perhaps, and stuff like that. So I'm gambling on that to see what I've got. But So we're each going to choose 3 films that we want to see. I have decided to skip the gala presentation since I am not going to be able to see them. So I'm focusing on stuff which I would have liked to have been able to say I would definitely be watching digitally, but as with every year, the press and industry list is still not available just over a week out, so it makes it very difficult to plan. And I know there's already some grumblings about the fact that, I mean, we discussed it on the previous one about Toronto, about how my biggest annoyance is when the public tickets are on sale and the press and industry schedule is not out, so you don't know what you need to book tickets for. And of course, now it turns out that unfortunately, I know that you'll be missing the press and industry screening of Titan, which is screening before the festival starts. So I think that's put a few noses out of joint about not being able to get down to London in time for that one. But I'm going to put you on the spot now with a question. I don't know if you've got a ticket for the surprise film, but just so we can look back on this potentially and gloat on the fact that we managed to guess correctly, what do you think the surprise film will be this year? Obviously, last year, not last year, the year before, it was our number one pick of what we wanted it to be, Uncut Gems. What do you think will be the surprise film this year?
Well, I suppose the problem is that I didn't have a strong idea of what it was going to be before I knew. I bet for a long time in the build-up it was going to be Uncut Gems, and I had to get a surprise ticket. I left it a little bit late to get a surprise ticket this year, so I don't have one yet, and they're only doing one surprise screening. So I'm going to keep an eye on the classic LFF stubs, because I'd be hopeful, but I'm not optimistic that it's going to be Come On, the latest film from Mike Mills starring Joaquin Phoenix, and another A24 film, because they've had a couple now with Lady Bird and Uncut Gems. So that is going to be my hopeful prediction, potentially, but I'm not confident like I was last time.
Okay, I am going to go. There's a lot of sort of films sort of coming out sort of tail end of the year that people are mooting, but I think I'm going to go with Adam McKay's Don't Look Up. It hasn't screened anywhere else yet, so they would be getting a world premiere. Obviously the Netflix release is opening the festival. They've got a good relationship, so I think I'm going to go with that. I think it might be Don't Look Up. So
that would be awesome.
We'll have to see in a couple of weeks if we were right or if we were completely wrong, and it was something like Steven Spielberg's West Side Story or something like that. Who knows? But yeah. Come and find us if we were right or wrong, and tell us how much we either A, know or don't know about the festival. So, Lee, let's go to you first. 3 films. What's your first pick of something that you'd recommend that people try and catch at the festival?
So, as always, I'm going to be a bit of a trickster here. And my first choice is Succession, episodes 1 and 2 at...
I knew you were going to pick that one. And it's at the festival, so I have to allow it, because it is... it doesn't have to be fun. It is screening at the festival, so yeah, I have to allow it.
I love Succession, and it's been nearly 2 years since Succession season 2 ended on an incredible cliffhanger. I remember just watching, I think a week after I came back from the 2019 London Film Festival, so I have been desperate to see this. So for some people, there'll be films that they've been excited to see for a year or maybe a couple of years. They've been desperate to see the new Paul Verhoeven movie. For me, it's been like, I've waited 2 years. I just really want to hear the Succession theme tune over like cinema speakers. I just can't wait to just see that. Like, I haven't got a ticket to the public screening, but I remembered the couple of times that they've shown some TV stuff, it has got a press screening. So I am really, really hoping when the schedule drops this week that it is showing, or else I will be begging, trying to borrow, get subscribing to LFF updates to get a ticket. But yeah, for people that have got a ticket to it, they're in for a hell of a treat. I think it's going to be fantastic, and I know I'm just going to be frustrated if I get the chance to see it. I'll be like, the end of episode 2, like, I want more, and then it'll be out in a couple of weeks, and then I'll have to wait a couple more weeks on top of that to get new episodes. So it's a risky gamble, but one that I just can't wait to see, and I'm so excited that it's on the ticket list. Yeah,
and I probably need to start getting around to actually watching the first 2 series of Succession, so I can find out what all the fuss is about, and then also bring myself up to speed for when season 3 is out. For me, my first recommendation is a film called Boiling Point. All filmed in one continuous shot. It follows Andy, an emotionally damaged and drug-addicted chef, played by the Stephen Graham, who's on a hell of a run at the moment, across one crazily busy night in his top London restaurant. He has to deal with acrimonious staff, difficult customers, an old adversary, and the pressures of keeping a frenetic kitchen and busy restaurant floor going. So this is written and directed by Philip Barattini, and this is his first feature film. And, you know, it's interesting that he would go for a film which is 92 minutes long, set in a kitchen, all filmed in one continuous shot as your first film. It's a lot of pressure, but I'm excited to see if he's able to deliver on the premise. I mean, I guess it's essentially like a one-take Hell's Kitchen potentially, but Stephen Graham has been knocking it out of the park the last couple of years. I think ever since he stole the show in those Hawaiian shorts in The Irishman. I think he's just been anything that he's been in, apart from Hellboy, the remake Hellboy. Apart from that, I think he's been fantastic in everything, and I'm really excited to see. He's going to have a hell of October between that and Venom: Let Them Be Carnage anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited that he's one of those actors that he just is a jack of all trades at the moment, and he never kind of comes short. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a new Stephen Graham film. So fingers crossed I can catch that one.
And that one I know is definitely going to be available virtually on the P9. So yes, that's at least I will be definitely able to see one film which I'm recommending, so that's okay. So what have you got up next for us?
So I have gone for the blasphemous lesbian movie Benedetta. So it's an insult to the sanctity of Catholic nuns. It's blasphemous. When are the insults going to end at Jesus? Paul Verhoeven is a master at these sorts of things. Like, I've kept myself in the dark on this movie, apart from knowing it's the lesbian Catholic movie. So yeah, for those that aren't too familiar with it, the simple synopsis that doesn't give too much away: in the late 17th century, with plague ravaging the land, God, sounds familiar, Benedetta Carolini joins the convent in Passai, Tuscany as a novice. Capable from an early age of performing miracles, Benedetta's impact on life in the community is immediate and momentous. Hey, that sounds kind of normal. But then when you realise it's Paul Verhoeven and some of the buzz that's been coming around about this movie, I just can't wait to see what this guy does. Like, his filmography can be always a little bit up and down, but you just know it's always going to be provocative. It's going to push you in interesting directions. And Elle, one of his last movies, was one of my favourite films of that year. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what he does with this movie. And if anyone has any sense, they should be putting blasphemous lesbian movie on the poster or the trailers or anything like that, because that is the ultimate tap-in.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. If you're confused as to why we keep mentioning this, it's because there was a protest outside the New York Film Festival screening last night. But if you ask me, I wouldn't have been surprised if Paul Verhoeven was behind it all. Anyway, or the distributor, just to drum up publicity for the film. It was very fat-litted. But yeah, I think with this film, it got quite the reaction it can, and yes, it will get quite a reaction in London. But it just reminds me of an old joke that I heard of, like two nuns in the bath. One says, "Where's the soap?" and the other one says, "Yes, it does, doesn't it?" So there we go. Second one for me, this festival is going to be a film called Lamb. A childless couple, Maria and Ingvar, discover a mysterious newborn on their farm in Iceland. The unexpected prospect of family life brings them much joy before ultimately destroying them. This looks to be the best thing to come out of Iceland since Fire Song, the Eurovision Song Contest movie. And was, I mean, it's got to, if anyone has seen the trailer for it, I think it's pretty safe to say that it has vibes of A24. So, of course, it's an A24 release. Yeah, I'm very excited to see this one. I knew not a lot about it before I saw the trailer. That has an incredible use of the Beach Boys going on the nose. But yeah, this is definitely up near the top for me. There's quite a few A24 films at this festival, including Red Rocket and Tragedy and Macbeth. But this one definitely speaks to me the most. I think it's definitely the weirdest one out there, and I'm really excited to see, because the trailer only gives you a hint as to where it's going to go. I've no idea, but I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out as well. Like, the trailer sold me, and I think I'm desperately hoping I'll get the chance to see a press screening for that one, because I think with it dropping in America just before before we get it at the film festival, I think it could easily be one of those movies that gotta be Americans ruin, or there'll be little spoilers or things leaked. So I think I need to almost see this movie as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, I think that's it's a real risk that it does get spoiled. So yes, hopefully there's a virtual screening of that, or we just have to tap up the distributor and name drop the A24 project to try and get a digital screener in advance. So what's the final film that you're going to recommend to our listeners?
So I think this one won't be much of a surprise. It's been described as a much funnier sequel, but based on I think our feedback in the past about the original, we already thought it was quite funny, and that is The Souvenir Part 2. So a film that we know really very little about. There's been no trailer, but there's been a lot of positive buzz after it started airing at Cannes. So the synopsis is a young film student in the early 80s becomes romantically involved with a complicated and untrustworthy man. Part of me feels like they've just copied and pasted the description of the first one into that. It could be an admin oversight on IMDb and Letterboxd, but I've cross-checked and that is what they're going with. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I loved the Souvenir, and it was always interesting watching that movie, knowing there was going to be a sequel, wondering, going, it's not the kind of film that traditionally gets a sequel, but as with all the best sequels, what worked well in the first one often will get amped up, and I'm so excited to know that there's going to be more Richard Ayoade as Patrick in that. His one scene is one of my favourites in kind of recent indie movies and stuff like that. I can't wait to see. I've heard he's in it a lot more, and I think it's just got such a great cast as well. You kind of watch that film and you think like Honor Swinton Brown, Tilda Swinton's daughter, was just incredible in it, and I've not seen her in anything since, so I can't wait to be reunited with her. I'm really excited to see what happens. I know we could have had a film with Robert Pattinson in the mix, but Tenant delays kind of threw that into the mix. But this has been one film I've expected to be on LFF for as long as it's possible. So yeah, I'm desperate to dive back into that world. And it was a film that really split opinions. People loved it, people hated it. Both are valid. I can't wait to see what kind of reaction this one gets, if it's going to cause the same thing, or the people that disliked it, whether they'll give it a second go, or whether the reviews will change people's minds.
I think out of all the films to debut at the London Film Festival, this is probably one that will have the biggest split between 5-star and 1-star reviews. It's going to be interesting to see, like you say, if anyone who hated the first one is able to change their mind and swing them around to a positive thing. But yeah, no, I remember the discourse at the Edinburgh Film Festival after the first one. So looking forward to more of the same, and more Richard Ayoade on screen is always a good thing. So my final pick is another follow-up, and this is Dashcam. Director Rob Savage teams up with Blumhouse Productions for his follow-up to the lockdown horror hit Host, and this one will feature Annie, a politically incorrect COVID-denying vlogger from the US who travels to London to visit her friend during the pandemic. With offensive novelty rap her preferred means for expressing her inflammatory views, the seemingly untouchable Annie enjoys nothing more than a spot of incendiary provocation, intending on offending anyone who crosses her path, until she meets Angela. That is all I have for a description of the film. I think it's safe to say it provoked some rather outlandish opinions when it debuted at Toronto, but I was a huge fan of Host and what they were able to do with that low-budget horror during the pandemic. This one obviously deals with the pandemic again, so it's going to be interesting to see after teaming up with the American Blumhouse production, who have been behind sort of hits such as Sinister and the Purge series and stuff like that, if it's going to have any sort of American influences, or if it's going to be still a bit more of the sort of British sensibilities. But a word which seems to have popped up quite a lot in the brochure for the London Film Festival is batch. I think this one and Lamb both had that adjective used, so I'm going to be interested to see what he brings to the table. I don't know too much about it. I'm kind of glad that I haven't read any of the reviews and whatever, so I'm going to go into it kind of blind and see what I get. But if it's something as inventive and wildly different as Host, then I'll be happy, I think.
That's awesome. I never realised Blumhouse had a film on at the film festival, and it's interesting when you get a production company like that that's associated with horror. Yes, they've had some more of what you would maybe class as prestige reviews and so on, but there's something like that where it shows that they're really kind of breaking into this kind of circle where film festivals can often be a little bit more on the pretentious side. You know, to get a film like Dashcam means like festivals are opening up and, you know, bringing in audiences that might not typically go to a festival.
Yeah, I think Dashcam is the London Film Festival's version of Halloween Kills, debuting at the Venice Film Festival. But I mean, if he is able to basically film an entire movie on a Dashcam, then I'm interested to see what he does there. But I mean, you know, to come out of the pandemic, having done a film which was basically essentially filmed entirely on Zoom and get picked up for a 3-picture deal with Blumhouse to be working with Sam Raimi on your next project after this. I mean, it's a meteoric rise, and I guess we'll just have to see if he's able to maintain the momentum. But I did see him in a panel at Sundance. He was in a panel about the future of British horror with Prano Bailey Bond, and it was actually one of the few panel things which I actually really enjoyed and actually felt like I actually came away learning a lot. Often the time is, you know, the very sort of general questions and sort of, oh, aren't we all fantastic and stuff like this? But they really sort of got into a lot about the state of British horror and stuff like that. It's safe to say that, you know, I came away with that thinking that British horror was in good hands, and yeah, hopefully he lives up to the highs of his previous film. So yeah, just a few of the highlights that we've managed to pick out of the brochure. There are hundreds of films available for you to enjoy in a multitude of formats. But we're going to be back next week to finally, I can't believe I'm actually going to say these words. Actually, I should probably cross my fingers and touch wood because, you know, there's still a few days to go. But we're going to finally review the latest, newest James Bond film, No Time to Die. I think back in 2018, we talked about what we wanted from a Danny Boyle James Bond film, and then, you know, we were going to review the film in, when was the first time? Was it April 2019 or October 2018, something like that? But it seems, you know, I've got my tickets booked. I know you've got your tickets booked for the midnight screening. It looks just a couple of days away. It looks like it's going to happen finally. You know, Odeon have now reintroduced their blockbuster pricing, so you've got to pay an extra £2.50 if you go to see the Bond film at the Odeon. So sorry if you've got tickets booked for the Odeon, but it looks like it's going to happen. Are you excited? I know, because you've been waiting on this film for about 4 or 5 years.
Do you know why I know this film is 100% happening? Because it's advertised on all the side of the buses in Edinburgh at the moment. It's too far gone. It's happening. I will be there at midnight. I can't wait to talk about James Bond with you. We've never done a Bond episode, so our moment is coming.
This is going to be our first Bond film. Oh, wow. And, you know, fingers crossed. I mean, you know, in terms of Daniel Craig films, it was good, bad. So he should be ending on a high. Will he? We're going to find out next week, and then we'll be back at some point, either during or after the film festival, to give you our thoughts on that. But fingers crossed, Bond's out in a couple of days, and we'll see you next week. Or you'll hear us next week to talk about it. We'll see you then. Bye.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.